Hi, today I will be trying to recrystallize tetraamine ammonium copper sulfate. I have done this recrystallization once, however I am not really a fan of how it came out. The crystals were just really small and I stopped the recrystallization too early. Here are the reagents you will need. First of all, some copper sulfate. You can get it in your local hardware store as wood paint, some distilled water, some concentrated ammonia solution. However, you can use dilute ammonia solution. However, I'm not sure if it will work as good. Secondly, you'll need some beakers. You need a funnel. And you need a few coffee filters. Just use as many as you'd like. Now, the first thing you should do is make some concentrated copper sulfate solution. Put your beaker on something you can stir it on. You can use a stir bar and a magnetic stirrer like I am doing. However, you can also just use a regular spoon and mix it that way, or a glass rod. I just find it that the magnetic stir will make it a lot easier. Secondly, add a little bit of copper sulfate. I'm just adding 2 spoonfuls to begin with. However, I will start adding as much as will dissolve. Now add some distilled water. And start stirring it. So as you just saw, I added way too much copper sulfate. For this I will add a funnel on top of a beaker, add a coffee filter inside of it. Any filter paper will do as long as it catches the copper sulfate particles. Now the clean solution should be dripping inside of here, and you can use that. Now, after you have your concentrated solution of copper sulfate, we will be performing one of my favorite reactions. It's the reaction of copper sulfate with ammonia. Firstly, I will be pouring my ammonia solution in there. You should see a white precipitate form. Let's mix. Now if we add more ammonia, you will see it turns dark blue, and you should be able to almost see through it. Let me just clean it. And this is what we desire. Now let's add in a stir bar. I just have a little bit of ammonia in there. No. And let's put it on a hot plate. And let's turn on stirring and add heat. Now it's important to do this reaction and boiling it outside, as it releases a lot of ammonia, and while ammonia gas by itself is not toxic, you can basically suffocate in it because you can't inhale more oxygen. for this I will be placing a watch glass on. It won't help much, however it will be better than nothing. Now as it's being slowly heated up, it's important to have a thermometer in there. Make sure your thermometer can read up to 80 degrees Celsius, as it's important not to let the solution start boiling, as it will get rid of all the ammonia, and the tetraamine copper sulfate will just be too soluble in water, as ammonia solution just decomposes into water, and we won't be getting any crystals out of this. Now, as you can see, it has reached 88 degrees. So we will be lifting out the thermometer and taking the beaker and letting it off this. So yeah, I'm using crucible tongues because my beaker tongues are just too small for this small beaker, and yep. Now we'll be letting it cool slowly. I would highly recommend placing it on a heat resistant surface. That's also what I will do. Just lift this off and place it right here. Now as you can see, the solution has cooled down a lot. I am not sure if this will work, however we shall find out. So let me just raise the thermometer, and now when I pour this into beaker, another beaker, and yep, the first attempt was a fail. So I will be trying it another way now. However, yeah, this method won't work, sadly. But I can immediately start setting up for the second method. Firstly, clean or take another clean beaker and set up your hot plate again. A moment. Alright, just connect it up, and excellent, and let's put the beaker on top of this. One moment, here. Now, the second method, I will still need my stir bar, so let me just retrieve it. Seconds. Alright. Now, the reason my first attempt didn't work was due to too much water. We can eliminate this factor by just adding some copper sulfate solution, pure copper sulfate here. Just add a little bit, you won't need too much. And add ammonia solution straight to that. You should be able to see the color change pretty much immediately. Now start stirring. The reason we need concentrated ammonia solution in order for this to work is because tetraamine ammonium copper sulfate dissolves better in water than it dissolves in ammonia solution. which is actually good for this recrystallization. Now, as you can see, it has started boiling. So we will act as fast as we can. Prepare a filter paper thing so you can filter it. Take off the watch glass. You should be doing this outside, so you shouldn't really have too many issues with ammonia. Add it in here. And just spill as little as you can. Now the residue which is at the bottom of this beaker is not actually tetraamine copper sulfate, if I am correct. It should be just copper sulfate waste. Now it has gone through surprisingly fast, and you shouldn't really need to do more. Well, just lift off filter paper. I'll just let it fill up. Excellent. Put it somewhere else. Remember, it is hot. Now put it on somewhere that's heat resistant again, and let it cool down slowly. Now, as you're able to see, all of my solution has cooled down. So now what we must do is pour everything we can into another beaker. Let's do that. And as you can see, there is still a lot of stuff left in here. You can even see actually in real life that it's glittering a little bit. Now what we have to do with the remaining solid is take a coffee filter, just put it absolutely anywhere, scoop out what's in here, at least try to. And I'm actually gonna place the coffee filter here and put all of the solid on here. As you might be able to see, it's glittering a lot. That's because crystals have formed. Now, essentially, just we need to leave it out to dry. And yeah, as you can see, it's glittering a lot. After it has dried as much as it can, we need to store it under ammonia atmosphere, under ammonia gas. The reason we have to do that is because tetraamine ammonium copper sulfate actually decomposes, and when it decomposes it releases ammonia gas, and if I'm correct, it decomposes into copper hydroxide, and you can just see that it's not as beautiful as it's just basically whitish blue. It's not as beautiful as this. And just leave it out to dry, and after it's dry, store it. And thank you so much for watching, and I'm sorry if my accent made it too hard to understand. Thanks. So this is the final product. It's still a little bit wet. This time the crystals were even smaller. I have no idea why that happened. I'm pretty sure that's because I just didn't, I made it in such a small quantity. If I would do it next time, I would definitely do it on a larger scale. That way the crystals should become larger. For example, maybe even make 200 milliliters of the solution or something, as I only made 40 milliliters today. Huge thanks to Brave Skin for helping me get familiar with the current editing software and supporting me with my equipment. And yeah, please leave your honest feedback in the comments. Let me know if I should just use subtitles next time, and if my accent would be too annoying. And thank you so much for watching. I truly appreciate it. Thanks.